Viewers, nearly 2 decades after bombs tore through Malegaon, killing 31 people, the Bombay High Court today quashed a special court's order that had framed charges against the 4 men who were the last remaining accused in the case, effectively leaving one of Maharashtra's deadliest terror attacks with no one to answer for it in court. A bench of Chief Justice Sri Chandrasekhar and Justice Shyam Chandak set aside a special court order from September 30th, 2025 that had framed charges against Manohar Narwaria, Rajendra Chaudhary, Dhan Singh and Lokesh Sharma for murder and criminal conspiracy under the Indian Penal Code, along with provisions of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, clearing the way for the trial. Now, their appeals against this order were allowed by the Bombay High Court. Remember, viewers, this case pertains to the blast that took place near the Hamidia Masjid in Maligaon on the 8th of September 2006, just after Friday prayers. A total of 37 persons died in the blast, which also injured over 300 citizens. Initially, the Maharashtra ATS had arrested 9 men for carrying out the blast near the masjid, and they spent at least 5 years in jail and were granted bail in 2011. Subsequently, we've seen the special court discharge all 9 men with a finding that prosecution evidence fell short to prosecute them. Subsequently, we've seen the NIA arrest 4 appellants after Swami Asiranand's confession, who himself was an accused in several other blast cases. On the other hand, politics has broken out over the Bombay High Court order. Sharad Pawar's NCP has questioned the failure of the government and intelligence agencies. Meanwhile, the BJP says it was the UPA that coined the term Saffron terror after the Maligaon blast, only to hide its own shortcomings.
After no one killed Jessica Lal, it seems like no one caused the Maligaon blast. Is this not a failure of every single investigating agency? Is this not a failure of the government? Is political pressure being applied? These are the questions that need to be asked. The victims of these blasts deserve justice, whether it is in Mumbai or Malegaon. We cannot let such shoddy investigations and such politically motivated investigations deny them that justice.
यूपीए के कार्यकाल में मालेगांव ब्लास्ट हुआ, आतंकी हमला हुआ और अपनी विफलता को छुपाने के लिए, तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करने के लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने सैफरन टेरर का आविष्कार कांग्रेस हेडक्वार्टर में कर दिया। आज बॉम्बे उच्च न्यायालय ने 2 जजेस की खंडपीठ जो 4 आरोपी थे जिनके खिलाफ चार्ज फ्रेम हुए थे, उसको रद्द कर दिया है, क्वॉश कर दिया।
All right, and there's breaking news coming in. Colonel Shrikant Purohit's lawyer has made a claim. He says that after a change in government, they were arrested in the 2008 blast case, and adding that NIA, under the previous government, had given a clean chit to 9 accused, following which a new set of accused were arrested by the agency. The lawyer further says that people must understand how the narrative kept changing over time. We have Rucha joining us for more on this. Rucha, this is the first official statement coming in from Colonel Purohit's legal team, and they're talking about the discrepancies in terms of how the narrative and attempts to change it over a period of time kept happening.
Like we are reading the statement, what the lawyer has said, he has told us that initially this case was handled by ATS Maharashtra, and later on it was taken over by CBI. But as there was a change in the government, as the Congress came into power, the case was given to the NIA, and after that the 9 accused in this case were freed by 2011, and new accused were framed, is what it is suggesting. And this is directly attacking the Congress government, and how after change of government it was conveniently done, is what this comment is pointing at. And it is also important to understand.
Yes, Rucha, I'd like to thank you for joining us with that quick update. Let's quickly open this up and take it across to our guests. In fact, joining us on the panel is Professor Atikur Rahman. In fact, Pradeep Bhandari as well as Dr. Anand Rangnathan and Kamruzaman Chaudhary continue from debate number 1. Let me come across to you first. Professor Atikur Rahman, your response to the statement coming in at the end of the day that there was a deliberate attempt at changing narratives repeatedly. And at the end of the day, the fact is that, nobody seems to be accountable for this. If the last remaining accused also, the charges are going to fall. Does this A mean that not only was the Saffron terror bogey, something that was raised which is completely falling flat now in courts, and B, that whether this was heavily politicized.
Madhav, by the simple logic of BJP, if at that moment the Congress was, taking any chances of, interfering in the probe, by the same logic, I can say that the present day government is interfering in the investigations. Otherwise, why are we expecting these cage parrots agencies to give us justice? 19 long years, Madhav, and the victims are not getting justice. I do not pinpoint my thing on the courts. The entire gamut goes on the investigating agencies. Where is the accountability? If they are probing the cases and they are being undermined by the present day government or the past governments, are we to rely upon the cage parrots then?
Where is the intervention by the government in this case, sir? Please tell us.
Will this politicization...
Okay, no. Even if I'm going to take your argument at face value, where is the politicization specifically by the current regime? Please tell us.
No, if they can pinpoint that the Congress was interfering with the probe at that moment, why not at this moment?
Sir, they will obviously point out there were so many Congress leaders who used the phrase Saffron terror, including those in power. That is all right. Let Dr. Ranganathan comment on this. Dr. Ranganathan, there is no substantiation that there was politicization during Congress regime. Respond to Dr. Rahman.
I am amazed, and it's just beyond being saddened about this, because the good Dr. Rahman talks about injustice. Yes, he's right. But then why is he being selective? Because when his heart has been bleeding over the last 2 or 3 years over the incarceration without bail of 2 people who have been claimed to have perpetrated the Delhi riots, and the Supreme Court has heard it, the High Court has heard it, and still the bail is denied, and he cries injustice. Where does his cry of injustice, where do they go, in which well do they go and silence themselves when Colonel Purohit was denied bail for 9 years? When he was tortured by the Congress, you read his affidavits, you read his proclamations. He was tortured, his private parts were ripped apart. That was not injustice for you? Have you ever heard even one word, Dr. Rahman, about what happened to the injustice that was meted out to Colonel Purohit? This is the same country. And I want to ask, who are the perpetrators who meted that justice out to Colonel Purohit? Where are they? Have you ever spoken about them? And that is why I say, Madhav, the wheels of justice in this country aren't just grinding slowly. They have come to a halt.
Are unrelated cases.
Atiku Saab, I did not interrupt you. This is a very sensitive topic. And when you say injustice, I believe injustice was done to everyone. Even the victims of the blast. But more importantly, Atiku Saab, even to the, as you know what Blackstone ratio is. Even, yes, to the victims, of course, injustice was done. But why do you keep silent when injustice was done to Colonel Purohit? It's a simple question. Will you dare to answer that, Atiku Saab?
Atikur Rahman.
Madhav, both are unrelated cases. One is of bomb blast, the other is of Delhi riots. How can you compare both of them?
What are you talking about? I'm talking of Colonel Purohit and the Malegaon.
That's a conspiracy
for 9
blast.
years he was there, what?
No. Why? But both are unrelated cases.
Madhav, please
you are
correct
comparing oranges with apples, sir. No, this can't be done. You are pushing the real things under the carpet. I am just asking that the investigative agencies, is there any accountability?
Professor Atikur Rahman, may I ask you a simple question? Was it not a fact that there was this entire narrative? One second. Professor Atikur Rahman, whether you agree or disagree, there was a fact that people kept talking about Saffron terror. One by one, these Saffron terror, so-called Saffron terror cases have been falling in courts. It's a fact. Has there been even one conviction when it comes to these so-called Saffron terror cases? And that is why he is raising the issue of Colonel Purohit. He's saying injustice has been done to him and the courts have said as much. Please respond to the specific point he's making.
Whose regime is ruling India in the present day times? It's a Hindutvavadi regime. Can we escape from this fact? We cannot escape from
Is
this
the
fact. And look at this
Hindutva-wadi regime
BJP.
running the courts now?
Eulogizing.
Are the judges such as High Court judges? No, Doctor, one second. Dr. Atikur Rahman, are you saying that High Court judges, are the ones who are deciding on the basis of the powers that be? Is that what your argument is?
No, the Bombay High Court Chief Justice has given this. I am not questioning the judiciary.
Then who are you questioning?
The investigating agency.
No. I'm sorry. You can't have it both ways. If you are questioning this, then please question it with facts. It is a reasoned judgment coming in from the court. All right, Dr. Ranganathan wants to respond on that. Dr. Ranganathan.
No, I'm saying, thank you for catching him right on his tracks. On one hand, he was saying we are in the midst of a Hindutva-wadi regime. And the moment you pointed out that the verdicts have been given by High Court and Supreme Court, then he says the High Court judge is not at fault. So he's contradicting himself.
And let me bring in Kamru Zaman Chaudhary on this. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, the point is, there's a political narrative that was set. And as somebody who's, ideologically aligned with the Congress party, has been a member of the Congress party, now it appears, after multiple cases of this Saffron terror narrative falling in courts, that all of this was nothing but a strategy, and a deliberate one at that, trying to fix accountability on a certain set of accused, which would suit a certain narrative. Because there are several top Congress leaders who have actually put out these statements, from Mr. Digvijay Singh to others.
Madhav, there is a very big difference between a narrative setting and the perception being created. After the Malegaon blast, what happened was the arrests that were made during that time pointed out to a clear-cut role and involvement of the Hindutva forces of the country, out to play a very dirty game that they're still playing in dividing the country on caste religion lines. But the point is that what happened from the blast date till today, after 20 years, 37 innocent victim families are still waiting for justice, and the system has failed to give them the justice. That's the bottom line. Whether the Hindu terrorists did it, whether the Muslim terrorists did it, it hardly matters to these 37 victims now.
No, I agree with you there. I agree with you there. But the charge is that the case was politicized to the word go. That's the charge.
What does he mean by Hindu terrorist?
Yes.
I object. What does this radical man, means by Hindu terrorist? A Hindu cannot be a terrorist. This is exactly what the Congress party attempted to do. Saffron terror, Hindu terror. This is on your panel. You have this fundamentalist man coining a word called Hindu terror. This is exactly which was done by the Congress party, which fell flat in the court.
Now,
it is Rahul Gandhi who said that Hindus can be terrorists and Hindus can be and compared the Hindu organizations.
This is a very contentious issue. Mr. Chaudhary, this is a very contentious issue.
You hate the Hindus of this country.
This is not contentious.
The point we made, as I read out in the introductory remarks, is that there were a certain set of accused. Those accused, got let off for whatever reason, and a second set of accused were sought to be sort of projected as the accused in this case. This is what the, not just Colonel Purohit's legal team is saying, but several observers have been saying on this case. You would also agree.
You tell me one thing.
You would also agree, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, that if an injustice has been done, not just this regime, but the past prosecutions also will have to account for it.
I said the same thing when the Supreme Court ruled that the demolition of the Babri Masjid was a criminal act, but nobody is responsible for that. Despite the hundreds of videos coming out, the people who have demolished the Babri Masjid. Same case in the Maligaon blast is there are 37 people who have been denied justice today. Who failed it? Whether it was the Congress government, whether it was the BJP government, whether it was the ATS, whether it was the NIA, but this system has failed them. Okay. This is not a question of Hindu terrorists, not a question of Muslim terrorists, but the people's relatives are still waiting for justice. Who is responsible for this?
Okay.
My question is that.
Okay, Pradeep, I'm going to let Pradeep come in now. Pradeep, who's responsible for this? At the end of the day, it's a systemic failure. Whichever agency, at whatever level of government, state, central, etc., somewhere or the other, there has to be justice. When 37 people die, if there is no one to be held accountable, then what does this speak about our system? That's a basic question that is coming out of this. Please respond to Kamru Zaman.
Well, Madhav, at the outset, the spokesperson of the Congress has called the Hindus of this country as terrorists repeatedly. This shows their innate hate for the Hindus of the country. And this is exactly what Rahul Gandhi practices. Now, let me come to the topic. The real victims and the only victims of the entire case in Malegaon has been the Colonel Purohit, Sadhvi Pragya and the other innocents which were framed by the Congress party to manufacture a saffron terror narrative which has completely deflated and fallen flat. Well, the question should be asked from the Congress party what it was doing in the investigation when the UPA was in power, because after 2006 and 2008 till 2014 the UPA was in power, but the Congress leaders tried to make the investigative agencies do political act to appease their vote bank and did not carry a proper thorough probe. And this is not what I am saying. Recall what Mr. Chidambaram said. Mr. Chidambaram said that there is a recent trend of Hindu terror which has been seen in various cases. It has completely fallen flat. This was Mr. Chidambaram's statement in 2010, which was echoed and repeated by Sushil Kumar Shinde and further repeated by Digvijay Singh. So rather than allowing the investigative agency to do a thorough and a professional probe, the Congress party's top leadership pressurized the investigative agency to manufacture a narrative of saffron terror, paint victims like Colonel Purohit, who was denied his promotion just because he was a brigadier in order to please the vote bank of the Congress party. And after 17 years, the Congress owes an apology to the people of the country and particularly to the men in uniform.
Okay.
Because a man like Colonel Purohit, a serving army officer, was succumbed to the politics of the Congress party, and today he's a brigadier and all of us.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, Congress owes an apology to the people of the country, including Colonel Purohit. Answer that question. Also, there is one point I'd like to add. When Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge uses a phrase such as terrorist, so freely, and of course, there's a complaint before Election Commission, etc., the larger question about the mindset is certainly reflected in that comment as well.
Madhav, Khargeji has already clarified he meant how the Hindutvadi forces of this country represented by Pradeep Bhandari and his party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, have terrorized the people of this country into castes, into religion, into regions. That's what Khargeji has
that's
said.
the clarification, but what he initially said, he used the word terrorist.
Now when you
Did he use the word terrorist initially or not, Kamruzaman Chaudhary? Yes or no?
Madhav, there might be an 83-year-old man coming, but a sitting chief minister coming to Bengal.
No, his age apart, the fact is that he used that term. The fact is that he used that term. Let's not run away from that. He may have given a clarification and you have repeated that for us, but the fact is he used that term.
Madhav, let me finish.
Madhav, 2 seconds,
One
please.
bigoted chief minister from Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, comes out in Bengal and he says and he compares and insults the greatest holy place of the Muslims, the Kaaba Sharif, and compares that Bengal cannot be a land
Okay,
of Kaaba.
quick response from Pradeep.
Mean to say...
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes. Bengal is the land of Bengali Hindus. This is why it is continuing to be a democracy. We will not repeat what Sohrawardi did pre-independence. Do not attempt a Sohrawardi in Bengal. Mind you, Kamru.
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, quick 10-second response, please. Out of time.
Madhav, on the very day, on the very hour that we are discussing how a sitting chief minister can barge into a crime scene and take away a precious file, we are oblivious of the fact that the UP had 6 years to destroy all evidence in Malegaon blast. Why are we discounting that? And as far as my good friend Kamru is concerned, that what Supreme Court said were criminals, and when they demolished the Ram Janam Bhoomi, the Babri Masjid, for 12 years you were in power. How many did you send to jail?
Okay. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Completely out of time. There are many questions. It's a debate that can go on for very long. But Pradeep Bhandari, Dr. Anand Rathan, Kamruzaman Chaudhary and Professor Atikur Rahman, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening.